welcome here to Talk FCB and welcome here to more build-up to Villarreal against Barcelona this weekend as we enter round 34 in La Liga. And we are now approaching the end of the season. And although admittedly it does seem as though the title is a big ask for us to secure from here, it could still be an important weekend in the league with Real and Barca both facing difficult games this weekend. And as we here are going to discuss, Villarreal are very much in form and there are plenty of questions still to answer, particularly when you look there at Quique Setien. He remains under big pressure for his job. And although he's still there right now, he's certainly going to remain under scrutiny. And that's why in today's video, we're going to be talking about how he should line up, about the personnel that should be commanding a place in that starting lineup. And in particular, he's got to be brave. He has to be bold. And certainly tomorrow as well, we're going to be watching out for those subs. It's all coming up in today's video. Let's get to it. Because Barcelona will be travelling to Estadio de la Cerámica on Sunday evening at 10 p.m. local time. Once again is the kickoff, and here, guys, are the times right around the world, so you can get involved, stay dedicated, stay committed there. Because like I say, the La Liga table right now is not pretty reading for Barcelona fans. We sit 4 points behind Real Madrid with just 5 games to go in the league season. And to be honest, it's not just 4 points, is it? It's effectively 5 there with that head-to-head record going in Real's favour, and like I say, really is there an uphill task there to catch them in these remaining 5 games. But Real Madrid will be in action slightly differently this weekend because they're going to be playing before us for the first time since the restart. And like I say, they've also got a very difficult game. They're also heading to an informed team, going to San Mamés to face Athletic Club, who right now are on a real surge to get into Europe. But in terms of Barcelona, you could certainly argue that we have an equally tricky, or to be honest, even trickier tie in Villarreal, who've made an outstanding return to football since the restart. You can see here, they've rocketed their way back up the league into 5th place as it stands. And I've got to be honest, I wouldn't rule them out right now a Champions League spot. They are red hot, in fantastic form. In their 6 games since returning from the break, they've won 5 of them and drawn the other 1. They're in better form than us right now. And certainly here, this won't be an easy game against what is an excellent side. And it is actually quite interesting coming into this game this weekend because it does have a bit of a different feel about it. Not only there are we playing after Real Madrid, but also we've had quite a nice gap in between the games. We played on Tuesday, a very tough game that it was against Atletico Madrid, but now we've had all that way until Sunday before we're facing Villarreal. That's been the longest period in between games since we returned. And I think here, I don't know why, but I feel like Barcelona might actually show us something. They might have actually taken on a bit of time there in that break to regather their thoughts, to recharge their batteries. Quique Setien has had them on the training ground. Will we see the response we need? This is a tough game, and quite simply, we have to win for everyone's sake. And that's why I think in particular here, once again, it's a test for Quique Setien. It's a real test here of not only who you're going to play, not only how are we going to play, but I think it's really important here to start making these preparations now. Of course, Quique Setien, like I say, is still going to be under pressure, but you've got to think about it. The Champions League is just over a month away. That now is getting closer and closer and closer, and it's not just about the La Liga title. We've got to start here preparing for a massive game that we have coming up against Napoli, and ahead of that game, you want to get some momentum going. You want to get some confidence back in these players. And that starts here for me by playing the players who deserve to be there. Play the players who are in form, who are feeling good, who are giving us energy in that team. And that's why Setien's selection, it's got to be right. He's got to go bold and brave to get ready for these big games to come. And here, as you can see, guys, is the official squad list for Villarreal against Barcelona. And as you can see there from the names that we do have available to us, there's not a great deal of surprises. The absences that we already know about are there, and players coming back like Sergio Roberto back in the squad now for good. But of course, it is going to be interesting as well to see what sort of role the likes of Arthur Melo play. I don't really see, and we're going to be talking about the lineup, I don't really see Arthur being involved from the start, hardly at all in the run-in, quite simply because he's not going to be a Barca player anymore, so I don't really see Quique Setien counting on him. It's also interesting to see there the amount of youngsters in the squad. Ricky Puig, Iñaki Peña, Collado, Ansu Fati, Araujo, Mora, Monchu, Cuenca, all of those players, they still do have a role, and maybe not now in this game, but as the season goes on, potentially when there's not much to play for, I want to be seeing more of those guys getting more minutes in the first team. That will be a bright spark in what may be a dark situation. So indeed, when you are looking at that starting lineup, of course in goal, there's going to be no question at all there that it is going to be Marc-Andre ter Stegen keeping his place there in between the sticks. And at centre-back, I think right now it pretty much picks itself. Gerard Piqué, Clement Lenglet, Samuel Umtiti look set to miss the remainder of the season with injury. So that does mean that at any point we could be seeing more of Ronald Araujo, and that's exciting for me. I really do hope we get to see him in the remainder of the season when there's nothing perhaps to play for. He should certainly be getting more and more minutes there to acclimatise himself to the first team. And then certainly there's a few more areas in this team where I feel they fully earned that spot, no debate. One of them would come there in midfield. I think Riqui Puig has to start. He's been our best performer in that midfield by a considerable distance when he's been there over the past few games, played brilliantly against Atletico, and for that reason, you give him another start. You reward him for that form by keeping him in that team. And of course, the final spot there, without any question, will always go to Lionel Messi in that forward line, even despite rumours about his future. And also when it comes to Messi, he's only one yellow card now away from a one-match suspension. That's something there to bear in mind. But when you're looking there at the rest of the team, I think there's many questionable places there. There's players who should be pushing other players to get into the team. When you're looking at fullback, I think probably you go Jordi Alba. But like I've said many times, I wouldn't object to seeing Junior Firpo, especially there, as we're going to discuss, down that left-hand side. He can get Junior some good combinations going, and I would seriously consider putting him in for this game. But obviously, Alba 2 is a possibility. And then right back, Sergio Roberto is fit again now, and I do believe it's possible that he starts in this game. But I would stick there with Semedo, because I think that back four, if you can actually stay focused, we have seen you can get clean sheets, you can defend well with those four, and that's why I go with them in this kind of game. I also think against Villarreal, you do need pace. Alba, Semedo, they do provide that there going forward, but also going the other way too. And then into midfield. Busquets, for me, has to start in the holding role. I think Setien here has to go back to the three midfielders. I think the four against Atletico was a decent idea in theory, but I think here, go back to three, get some width in those forward areas, and that's why also Rakitic will complete that midfield. I think he's been improved since the return. I think he deserves that spot, and I would leave Arturo Vidal on the bench. For me, the past few games, he's not been at it. He hasn't justified keeping his place in the team. Puig, Rakitic, Busquets in midfield. When you are moving on there to the forward spots, like I say, I think it's so important, especially in this kind of game, going away from home. You need to have a number of threats out on the field, and that's why we've got to have some width. We've got to have there a bit of natural flair in the wider areas, and that's why you start Ansu Fati. Get some energy there in that team, and I think certainly Ansu is the way to go there out on that left-hand side. And then, of course, is the big question. That is one of the biggest questions going into this game. Are we going to see Quique Setien drop Luis Suarez and bring back in Antoine Griezmann, given everything that's happened over the past few days? That's a massive question, because if he was to do that, that would actually be saying there, you know what, I'm going to admit to my mistake, I'm going to bring Griezmann back into this team at the expense of Suarez, and to be fair, that would be quite noble, to go and do that, to hold your hands up and bring him back in, and I hope that he does it. I hope there we see Griezmann leading the line, Messi in behind him, Ansu Fati out to the left-hand side. I think there's a possibility that we do see Messi, Griezmann and Suarez from the beginning. That could possibly work, but Setien doesn't seem to want to go that way, and I understand that. But to see Griezmann in this team, he has to replace Suarez, and you've got to be brave enough, you've got to be bold enough to make that call. That is crucial. And of course, with all of that in mind, and the fact that Real do play ahead of us, we have a chance here, potentially, if they do slip up against Athletic, we will have the opportunity to close that gap, and that could be so important. And in this game, I really hope we get a result. I hope we see a good team, I hope we see a good performance, and I'll be hoping there for a win. Barcelona 3, Villarreal 1. I don't know why, but I've got a bit of confidence going into this one. Like I say, I don't know why, but I just feel as though if we do get the team right here, the players can respond, and in a game like this, against an informed team, that would be a huge win. That would be a massive win here. Away at Villarreal, when the stakes are high, against a team in form, 3-1. I would be so happy with that. But let me know in the comments down below. What are you expecting? What do you believe that Barcelona can produce in this game? And all the more importantly, do you believe Setien will make those kind of changes? Will we see Griezmann back in this team? And will it be at the expense of Luis Suarez? Let me know all of your predictions for the score, for the team, in the comments down below. And of course, as always, I'll be back tomorrow for the match review. Please let it be a good one. We've gone through enough already. I'll see you tomorrow, guys. Thanks for watching. But until next time, as always, Visca! El Barça!